Okay, great. Welcome aboard. Thank you for participating in this all-important investor agent webinar. Okay, whether you're an agent or an investor or both like myself, I'm going to show you how you can generate over 100 transactions a year, okay, with no admin and no assistance. So if this is what you're looking for, you're in the right place. If you're looking to generate more cash flow in the world of real estate when it comes to investing, you're in the right place. You're just hang in there, be ready to take notes, all right, because we know that people who take notes are action takers, and people who take action get results. And by golly, that's why we're here, because results equals cash flow, and that's why we're all here. So go ahead and be ready to take notes, have some paper and pencil or pen ready, all right? All right, let's boogie here, guys. Let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, this is going to take us probably up to 2 hours. It just depends on how fast we get going, Q&A and so forth. But I promise you this, you work with me, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to get your business to the next level. All right, and as such, I'm going to reward you for being action takers and being resilient, okay? We know that your brain can only endure what your seat can endure, but the fact is, if you hang in there, I'm going to give you something at the end to reward you for being action takers and hanging in there, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. How many of you have wondered, is it possible to have your evenings and weekends free with your loved ones? I know some of you have regular jobs and you're investing. I know some of you have regular jobs and you're agents, or you're both, or you're all three like I was for a while, okay? I can tell you from experience, okay, early on, and I was building the empire, and I was suffering in my personal life, my family life, okay? And I learned it doesn't have to be that way, all right? So it is possible to have your cake and eat it too. How would you like, have you wondered, is it possible to actually get your business, your real estate business, to the next level so that you can essentially quit your day job, or if you're doing this full time, how about retiring? And not retiring when you're 65 or 75 years old. I mean like when you're 35 or 40 years old, okay? Well, this is what we're going to figure out today, all right? This is what you're going to figure out. So in any case, how would you like for me to share with you, all right, how I actually accomplish what I accomplished, which is not just doing more than 100 transactions a year. Some were my own, some were for me representing other investors, okay? But more importantly, I built businesses around this relationship, and I can tell you that businesses actually profited me more than the actual real estate itself, okay? This is why it's so important for you guys out there who are investing and don't have your license. You need to really consider this. In fact, if you look at all the gurus, Carlton Sheets, God rest his soul, he passed away about 10 years ago. Russ Whitney, who I actually got to meet on the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. Ron LeGrand, Tham Merrill from Fortune Builders, used to be a Keller Williams agent. They all had their license, okay? So in any case, the fact is, there's a reason for that. It allows you to build cash flow businesses around this activity of investing, okay? If you're only investing, you're leaving money on the table. And if you're an agent and you're not working with investors, you are really leaving money on the table, okay? So in any case, this is what I want for you. So most of you here today, it's going to be a long-term relationship. Once I show you how simple this is, once I show you how to automate putting these deals together, okay, and show you how fast your business and your life can grow, you're probably going to want to hang out for a lifetime, which was possible. Okay, we make it possible for you to do that. And I'll show you that towards the end. All right, so here's what you're about to discover. I'm going to show you some strategies. First off, on how to locate the right properties in the right areas by going under the radar screen. We're not just going to rely on the MLS systems, okay? I'm also going to show you strategies on how you can locate the right kind of investors, whether you're looking to represent them as an agent, or if you're an investor looking to drum up some cash, some capital to partner with people to invest. You're going to be able to use these strategies, okay? So the bottom line is this. Have you ever had a talk to yourself, like to motivate yourself to do something, okay? There's a part inside of you that talks to you to motivate you. And I want to be part of that inside of you today, all right? So would it be okay if I'm that voice for you today to help you change your life? I mean, essentially, life is made up of decision points where you have the opportunity to step inside your greater self, because you're here right now. We know that you've been seeking that growth, all right? You're here listening. This is your time to decide for that greater self. No longer hesitation, no longer fear. Sometimes people don't even know what they're feared of. They don't even know why they're not taking the next step. It's that's the amygdala in the back of your brain that's keeping you from doing that. You've got to learn to control that, okay? All right, to help you do that, I'm going to pull back the curtain today and show you everything, because you're here to make a difference, all right? And I'm here to help you do that. So making sense? Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and move forward if it's okay with you. I'd like to quickly share a story with you, all right? And by the way, I promise by the time we're done today, you're gonna know you'll know everything you need to add an additional 6-figure income to your bottom line, right? So it'd be okay if I pull back that curtain for you. In fact, how many of you think I might have something to offer you at the end of our time together today? You know, so and I will. If I give you all the Jedi tricks for success, if I do a good job and ask you permission to show you how you can work with me further, would that be okay? You can go ahead and type that in on your chat box if you like. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and jump forward here. Here's the big problem, right? The challenge is this. You know, if you're whether you're an investor or an agent, or you're practicing both, which I think you should, you realize that sometimes it's the inventory that's holding you back. The lack of inventory is holding you back. And if you're an agent working for commissions, if you're working with traditional clients, you realize that, man, you're working pretty hard for that 3%. You haven't quite figured out yet that working with investors can be far more profitable. In fact, you should ask yourself, would you rather sell one house to 20 people or 20 houses to one person? Fact is, if you're just doing owner-occupant business, I mean, I'm going to take the gloves off here. 80% of you are not even making enough to pay your bills. I mean, that's the hard, cold truth, right? It's not your fault. It's the way we're all taught to do real estate, and all the books that teach us, all right, how to do all the traditional stuff that may work for traditional clients very poorly, I might add. Okay, because how many doors you need to knock on, how many cold calls you need to make, all right, to get those decent prospects. The fact is, you don't have to do it that way with investors. You can go right for the heart of the relationship. Okay. Now, as you listen to me now, my intention is to help you fix that problem, because more and more, the more you listen, the more you're going to learn. All right. The fact that you're hearing means that you're going to make a shift today, because you're going to be ready to take action. All right. Okay. Here's why we're here, guys. 2 pie graphs representing the agents are on the left and transactions are on the right. What this shows us is that 99% of all residential real estate agents are only working with owner-occupants, okay? By the way, anything up to 4 units is what makes up the residential world. On the right-hand side is a makeup of transactions. In North America, 2/3 of our transactions certainly are owner-occupant properties, but a full third are tenant-occupied properties. Okay, so what that means is, over on the left, you'll see that only about 1% of agents actually work. They focus on the investor, okay? That little 1% sliver of pie is getting their big, giant, unfair share of pie of transactions. And they know how to do it, and that's why you look at them, they're calm, they're relaxed. They're not struggling to figure out where their next transaction is coming from, because they know where it's coming from. In fact, I can tell you, there were times I would juggle easily between 20 and 22 transactions on my own, all right? And it's not that I was a superhuman person. It's the process that I'm going to help you figure out today, okay? The fact is when you have repeat clients, you can more easily systematize and automate your processes. I want you to let that sink in there for a second, okay? Now, the reason why this is so important right now, okay, is because we're heading into another shift. In fact, we're already in it right now. And nobody knows how broad or deep or wide or long, but all the prognosticators are saying within a year, we're going to be right back where we were, 10 years ago. Not even quite 10 years ago, actually. And I believe they're right. And I'm a positive, optimistic person. Okay. When I look at the numbers, I look at the facts. I mean, it bears it out. The numbers don't lie. All right. So you need to figure out how to do this now. And this is why we're here. Just making sense? Excellent. Okay. Let's go ahead and move forward here. So what is investor agent best practices? Well, essentially, it's a step-by-step process that allows you to build, all right, a list of investors. If you're an investor, it's a list of investors you can count on to gather up capital. Okay, if you're an agent, it's your clients who you serve, helping them buy and sell investor real estate. And if you do it the right way, I'll show you how you can actually earn 10% commissions. Okay, Not from every client, but some clients you have to do that. I know people who would pay as much as 20%. In fact, I got to meet Robert Kiyosaki. He came to speak to one of my mastermind groups back in February. What year was that? 2015. Okay, and he said that there were times he would actually pay realtors 20% commission. Okay, good investors understand the value of a good agent who knows what they're doing, and that's why if you're an agent, you come to the right place, because I want to teach you about investing so you know how to walk the talk. Okay. Anyways, we all know that the simpler you can make the path, the easier it is for people to join, and I want that for you. I want you ready transactions that close easily and profitably. In fact, investor transactions have a much higher closing rate than owner-occupant transactions ever will. Okay, just making sense. Okay, so why should you follow investor agent best practices? Okay, the bottom line is it separates the top agents from the wannabes, people who are always on the outside looking in, the agents who simply sit in the stands and don't get in the game swing of the bat. We don't want you to be like that. We want you to be an action taker. And in order to do that, you need to leverage, if you have a license, and if you don't, you should get one. I want you to leverage that license as an income-producing asset. That license is a tool you can use as an income-producing asset to generate multiple streams of income. Okay, so you investors out there who don't have your license, I hope you're listening, because this is the gospel, right? We all know that, if you model what other successful people do, you will likely be, you fill in the blank. That's right, successful yourself, okay? So we're going to give you the exact system that I and many other people have been using for years. I've taught this to date to nearly 9,000 people, okay? And by the way, we don't follow the 80-20 rule. Traditionally speaking, we actually beat it the opposite way. Virtually everybody we work with, we actually guarantee that you get results, okay? We're the one company that actually doesn't just say it, we actually do it, okay? Most companies don't even say it. We say it and do it. In any case, it's a powerful step-by-step process that you can use in really any market. Remember, the fundamentals don't change. The fact is the markets could be different. San Francisco is different than Dayton, Ohio, right? No doubt about it. But the fundamentals don't change, guys, okay? So it may surprise you that to notice that you can see the system and leverage it over and over and over again, all right? So it works for everyone, and with your permission, we're going to show you actual case studies and demonstrate this system for you so you can see how it can work for yourself. Sound good? Excellent. Okay. So the time is now, and here's why. If you think about anybody who owns a boat, does a boat owner wait till the storm comes before they prepare their boat for the storm? No, of course not. It's good, smart boat owners prepare their boat ahead of time. They don't wait till the rain comes. They do it before the rain. And based on what we know, there's no better time right now than to be prepared to do this, right? Fact is, many of you are tired of doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same results. And I want to remind yourself of something that you probably already know, which is you can't afford to lose any more profit, right? This system is just now available on a global basis for my students, and they're crushing it, right? Consider what you're not thinking right now, which is you need an investor agent best practices. If not now, then when, right? Right? Consider why you want this, the success, the abundance, the impact you know you're here to make. The time is when? That's right, the time is now. Okay? All right, so quick notice here. I'm going to show you actual case studies and figures today. Okay? This is not to be interpreted as any type of income claim, implied or otherwise. Your results are up to you. I can't predict them, but I can tell you this. We don't just make promises here, we guarantee it. You roll up your sleeves, you get up in the morning and meet me halfway, you get up, wake up and show up, I'll be there waiting for you, okay? Any case, a little bit about me, all right? And I don't want to, take too long on this, but you need to know, if you don't already know me, that I really did early on. I was working in the corporate world. I had a regular 9-to-5 job, okay? And after several years, I realized I wasn't cut out to be sitting behind a desk like that Monday through Friday, 9-to-5 for the rest of my life. I had to do something about it, and I did. I got my license, and quickly in 6 months, I was on pace to add a 6-figure income to my bottom line. I was already investing, right? But this actually helped me invest more and faster. In fact, I was doing over 100 transactions a year, right? every year, 110, 103, and it just goes up from there. Built quite a portfolio very quickly, did thousands of transactions, won awards and wrote books and all kinds of neat stuff. But today isn't about me. Today is about you. All right. So here we go. Gospel according to me. The fastest and most predictable path to financial security and growth is investor agent path to profit. It's your ability to grow your investor and your seller pipeline. Okay. That's why we're here. All right. If you can automate and outsource the system and cultivate investors while building your own inventory, you are on the way, man. All right. The bottom line is this. I don't just believe it. I know it's the fastest path to wealth. All right. Always has been, is now, and always will be. Success and impact. Ultimately, this is what the workshop was all about. So consider for a moment how good you'll feel when everything is on autopilot. All right. Everything's paid for, and the transactions and the profits are flowing in like a well-oiled machine should. Okay. All right. My mission today is this, guys, to help you do that quickly and consistently. All right. Correctly and profitably. So to be okay with, I share with you a little bit about my story. So this will make a lot more sense. Is that okay? Okay, great. Well, thank you for responding that way. Couple things here. There you see me as a little squirt. This was in Germany. That's right. I was not even born in the U.S. I was born in Germany. In fact, for those of you who are curious, I do live part-time in the U.S. I live part-time in Canada. I travel constantly. But just so you know, when I was a kid, guys, we were, I definitely was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, right? We moved to the States when I was young, and soon after, my parents had split up. And we were, I was wearing Goodwill clothes. I was on a school lunch program. We lived in a little apartment, and unfortunately, we ended up, my brother and sister and I ended up on the wrong side of things many times because of the circumstances we were in. But I got lucky. All right, I had made passing grades in high school, and ended up going to college and got pulled money from every source I could possibly think of. And managed to work my way through, and I was blessed to have a roommate. His name was Socrates. His father was a Greek immigrant, and he helped us buy our first house. And he didn't give us money. In other words, he didn't give us the fish. He taught us how to fish, all right? And that first house, after a couple of years, I decided I was going to get married to a young lady who was teaching at the time. She wasn't from the area I was from. I was at the time living in Virginia Beach. She was from Pittsburgh. So we got married, started building a family, and I didn't pay attention to what Mr. DeMetta taught me, right? 10 years goes by, and I'm waking up every day dreading going to work. And it's basically, quite frankly, it sucked, all right? And I decided I was going to do something about it. I decided I was going to invest. I was going to do what Mr. DeMetta taught me how to do. So I wasn't paid for myself to get a mentor, and it quite quickly was able to put together a small portfolio. Now, in the beginning, I didn't do that. In the beginning, I tried to do it on my own, figured it out by myself, reading books and all this stuff, doing the take-home study courses. And I was, having some success, but it was taking forever, and I was making mistakes. When I finally paid for a mentor, man, it just took off. I mean, in 1 year, my first year, by the way, I bought, I think I'd acquired like 30 units, all right? And I exceeded my expectations dramatically. Any case, long story short is I was stumped by the fact that I couldn't rely on the agents. All right, so I got my license, started serving other investors as a result, not intentionally. Matter of fact, I used to tell people no, that I wouldn't help them. I got my license for myself, and then I realized when the world asks something of you like dozens and dozens of times, it's probably time to listen and pay attention. And I did, and I built quite a brokerage company on top of that. Or as a result of that, built a title company, a property management company, an appraisal company, all these businesses that revolved around that investor relationship. Because the reason this is important, guys, is once you have that core relationship and you can serve it in multiple ways, you should do it. You have an obligation to do that, okay? It doesn't mean you do the work. You direct it, all right? So the bottom line is this, guys, is, I'm probably the least likely candidate to be doing this. based on my background. And I just want to tell you, it doesn't matter where you come from, what language you speak. The beautiful thing about real estate investing is there's no barriers. The only barriers are what you place on yourself. There's no glass ceilings. Nothing can hold you back other than yourself. All right, it's the one area in our lives that we have complete control over. All right, as far as our growth is concerned. In any case, I hope that helps you see. Maybe some of you see a little bit of yourself in me. All right, if you do, that would be wonderful. If not, that's okay too. In any case, a couple things here I want to get back to. The bottom line is this: before we move forward, I want you to consider something. All right, many of us have a big why. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. You know, for me, I realized early on that I couldn't just be sitting still at a desk. That wasn't me. I didn't want to be on a schedule. I didn't want to be on plan, particularly somebody else's plan. I wanted my own plan. All right. So when you work with investors or you invest yourself, that's your path to freedom. So write this down. All right. Working with investors is going to equal your freedom. Working with investors equals what? That's right, equals your freedom. Clearly that's what you want, right? Freedom. Wouldn't that be awesome, okay, if you really could achieve that? Clearly there's challenges, though. I mean, not everything, if everything was as easy as flipping a switch, you know, we'd all be there. So here's some of the challenges. If you're an investor or you're an agent, either one, you know, you don't have the right contacts sometimes. You don't have the time. You don't have the system. So you take all these courses like I described earlier, learn and learn and learn, and you actually never do anything, right, until you've forgotten why you're trying so hard in the first place. Because you don't have a simple, proven process, all right, because it wasn't available till now. And now it's time to remember what you forgot to remember, all right, which is this, the path to profit system, all right? Do you like how much, I mean, let me just show you what's in this. Later on, I'm going to give you some content first, right? Then I'll ask you this question, which is how much do you like how much is in here, all right? Because it's a simple step-by-step process that you can implement. Okay, it's easily attainable, and quite frankly, anybody can do it. But first, let's get back to the bigger reason, all right? I want you to write this down, all right? I want you to write down not just that you want more money, like you want more, wealth, you want more income, but why do you want it, okay? And I want you to write that down. I already shared with you mine. My big reason was I wanted my freedom, my absolute, complete, total freedom. I wanted to live outside the grid. In fact, I can tell you right now, I don't have any mortgages. I don't pay any bills. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have to pay my phone bill, and I pay car insurance, and I pay medical insurance, right? And that's it. I have so much. Life is so abundant for me now that I'm not strapped with a bunch of gas bills, electric bills. I don't have any of that kind of stuff. Okay. And I want you guys to achieve the same. That's what I call not just being independent, but being free and living outside the matrix. Okay. How many of you would like to live outside the matrix, right? You know, this is what's different about the path to profit. Okay, it doesn't just position you to be independent. You literally can achieve complete and total freedom, all right? So, in any case, this is what I want for you and your families, by the way, too, for that matter. All right, so here's what's different. Imagine and picture a simple process that adds ready clients in your pipeline, ready investors in your pipeline, who either have capital and want you to do the work and you invest partnering with them, or they want to invest themselves and you're an agent, you can represent them. If you're really good and you're really wise, and I believe that you are because you're on this webinar, you actually will do both. You'll find out very quickly when you do both, your path to profit will be a lot faster. Okay, and I can tell you, if you're focusing only on investing and you think that's the end game, I can tell you you're missing a huge opportunity by not building businesses around that. In fact, let's say you get an average of 20% return on your real estate investments. That's not bad. That's pretty good. You should be proud of yourself. But consider this. A well-run business, all right, doesn't have to be a giant corporation, but a well-run small business can generate typically 500% return on investment. Okay, so you tell me which feels better, 20% or 500%. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Just imagine you continuously feeling that weight lift. All right, you're getting lighter. Essentially, as you deploy this, adding this initial six-figure income to your bottom line quickly within that first several months, right? Just give yourself the opportunity to relax and leave the system to the experts, right? So understand this. There are myths, okay? Some people will say this. Well, it's too hard. I don't know where to start. Well, that's why we have a program in place to help you do that, okay? We don't want you to struggle, all right? We don't want you to struggle. Or some agents will say, hey, I've worked with investors before, and they make all these crazy offers and blah 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 blah. Well, just because you don't know enough yet. You don't know what you don't know. Okay, we're talking about a proven system that pushing the boundaries of what people previously thought was possible. It's all about the leverage, right? It works with investors, works with agents. You can have family members involved that aren't licensed. Okay, as long as they're not performing certain functions, that's perfectly fine. But essentially, you're going to be amazed at how easily this system works quickly and helps your business grow. In any case, there's a few more things I want to ask you about here, right? If you think this is going to take too much time, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how much you can accomplish in as little as 4 weeks, and really only, the learning phase even 1 to 2 hours a week. Okay, that's what we're talking about. The bottom line is this: you do have to put some effort forward. You've got to meet me halfway here. Okay, I mean, the fact is, if you buy a treadmill and you don't use it, you find yourself starting to hang your clothes on it, then the treadmill's working. It's not working the way you intended it, but you're the one that's not working. Okay, you've actually got to implement what you learn here. Okay, that's why I have you guys take so many notes, right? Hopefully you've been doing that. Hopefully you've been taking notes, and because we're going to dive right in here and start to show you some content. All right, it's pretty sexy system, I think, anyways. So let's get ready and let's boogie here. Let's get rocking and rolling. All right, first things first. I'm going to show you how to identify profitable areas. Okay, then we're going to show you how to identify the right kind of investors, how to actually get people who want to sell. Okay, we call that the low-hanging inventory. And if you hang around towards the end, I'll show you how I can actually, on certain types of investment transactions, get as much as a 10% commission. Okay, so first things first. Let's jump in here to what we call school report. Now, right at the bat, go ahead and write that down. Let me let you catch up here. Write school report. Now, school report has nothing at all to do with school ratings and school rankings. Okay, and this report works everywhere in the U.S. and Canada that we've been. Just bear in mind that it needs some explanation here because it's adaptable. It's very adaptable to different areas. Okay, but essentially the way it's designed is every 2 columns represents a school area. So Hopewell's a school area, Butler's a school area, so forth and so on. And what we want to see in each of those school areas is, in the active column, the first column, how many properties are actively listed for sale. And we want to see that in price bands. Okay, 50,000 up to $500,000. Then we do 100,000 bands after that till we get to $1 million, and then we do $250,000 bands after that. So essentially, this first cell right here is a result of either you or your agents using your MLS system to create this. You're saying, okay, MLS, how many properties are actively listed in Hopewell school area between 100 and 150,000? The answer is 35. Then you would ask how many are sold in the last 90 days. So this is a 90-day report. In the case of Hopewell, between 100 and 150, that answer is 26. Okay, so as you might imagine, this report will take a while to build. Okay, if you're in a vacation area, sometimes maybe like remote, sometimes you don't have actual postal routes, or you don't have a lot of school areas. In that case, you don't have a lot of school districts. Excuse me. You can use the elementary school name. If you're in Canada, we don't have these fields available to us. In Canada, we actually use what's called the MLS area field. Okay, and I'll explain more later on. But just know that the importance of this report is this, guys. Ratios and statistics are important, but actual raw data is far, far more important when you're investing. So let's look at an example of what I mean by that. Look at the South Butler area, school area here. between 450 and 500,000, we can see one home is currently active and 2 homes are sold in 90 days. All right. Now that ratio is pretty good. 2 sold for every active. I mean, as a homeowner, that feels good. But the fact is, if you're an investor or you're an agent working with investors, there's not enough activity going on here to satisfy our appetites. We'd go hungry working here. So by contrast, look over here in Seneca. Look at the second row between 1 and 150 and 2. I can see 28 homes are active and 65 have sold in 90 days. And 2 to 250, I can see 15 are active and 39 have sold in 90 days. And I can see currently between 250 and 3, 13 are active and 35 have sold. So what this tells us is we have inventory, we've got supply, people willing to sell, and we've got demand, right? We've got velocity, people willing to buy at a faster rate than the people willing to sell. So we got 2 critical components here, supply and demand in this one little area. And by the way, a quick caveat here, let's say you're in an area like, Vancouver, Toronto, San Francisco, New York City, LA. You wouldn't start at 100,000. You maybe start around 300,000 or 400,000. Okay, so just remember the report's very adaptable. You adapt it to your market circumstances. Okay, the key point here is you're going to get raw data that tells you, in this example here, for example, where you should be investing, and if you're an agent, where you should be having your investors go to invest. In other words, show them this report. Don't try to persuade people where they should invest. Let them see for themselves. Let the data do the talking, which basically dramatically increases your credibility. All right, so everybody okay with this report? How we build it, why we build it, how valuable it is, and why we want to use this. In fact, I'll just tell you one more quick point here. Everybody wants to make a lot of money, but when somebody says, hey, I want to flip a $1.5 million house, I always show them this to let them see for themselves. What's happening at that level? Not much. Sometimes we call it tumbleweeds and crickets. It's quiet. Nothing's happening. Okay. In fact, you can see 3 homes are currently active in this area, and none of them have sold. I would much rather, if I'm flipping a home, I would much rather come up here where all this activity is, because I know from looking at these numbers, knowing that it's a 90-day report and a roughly 2-to-1 ratio, I bet you I could flip 5, probably 6 homes in this area in a year, and I would rather make $50,000 a pop more consistently, more reliably, more predictably like this than I ever would want to attempt to make $250 down here where there's like no certainty. Okay, no certainty here, lots of certainty here. The data tells us this is where we should be. Okay, I think I beat that horse to death, so let's go ahead and move on to the next part, which is this. Go ahead and write in your notes Melissa data. Okay, the link is a lot longer than that. For those of you who are participating here, we're going to make sure. Well, I'll just tell you. All right, part of the gift is at the end here. We're going to send you all these links. So just right now, just write down Melissa data. The link is a lot longer than that. You can't just, if you type in melissadata.com, you'll likely get some, who knows what, some marketing site. But in any case, if you type in what we give you in the email that you'll get later on, you'll get a screen where you can plug in your zip codes, and when you do that, you'll get the carrier route data for that zip code. So ignore PO boxes, obviously, and focus on the city routes. Now, if you're in an area where there's no actual physical postal route, they're all PO boxes, you're not going to be able to use this report. Doesn't really matter because your area is probably a rural, perhaps even an area where there's a lot of second homes. Okay, so different strategy in that type of area. We won't get into that today because it's we've only got a couple hours here. But just for the sake of our exercise, we've already determined that we need to be looking for homes between 150 and 300,000. We grab the zip codes for that area, plug them in, and look for carrier routes. CO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are all carrier routes that tell us how many people live there, what people make, and the average property value. So we want to look in these 3 neighborhoods, 202,000, 292, and 276, because remember our school report told us we need to be between, let's go back there, all right, we need to be between 150 and 3, all right, in that school area. So we're between 150 and 3. In that school area, we're going to look for the zip codes that have carrier routes between 150 and 3. Now the beautiful thing is this is a PDF. If this was live, I'd click on it. These map buttons are clickable. So you click on it, it brings up the map view that the postman takes with the mail through the neighborhood, including street names and everything. And here's the application. I want you to write this down. So now you or your agent go into your MLS. All right, you're starting to see why, by the way, if you're an investor and you don't have your license, why you should get one. In any case, you go into your MLS, you build what's called a map view search, where you can draw a polygram. Polygram is you connect the dots to make any shape you want, and you're going to do that 3 times. Once for this area, once for this area, and once for this area. You're literally going to mimic the map, the carrier route that the postman takes with the mail. Okay? Once for each of these. And then you build in bedrooms and bathrooms and so forth. And we'll tell you this, just based on these first 2 steps, guys, this changed how I was flipping homes. I no longer flipped as many homes as a result. It had nothing to do with inventory. All right? I'll show you how to get inventory later on, I promise you that. But it had everything to do with applying a certain methodology to the process. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and move to the next part. All right, so hang on to your seats. Here's an example of how we can use this Melissa data to look for rental properties. So if you look here, in fact, if you go back to the prior example, you'll see there's no apartments here. U.S. Postal Service tells us no apartments, little chance of any rentals in the area. So we know it's a good area for flipping. However, in this zip code, lots of apartments. And the U.S. Postal Service tells us more apartments, more rentals. I mean, I know it sounds logical, but I'm just telling you this is how it works. Okay. What I would do is I would only look in the areas that have a lot of apartments. Now I'm switching gears here, right? So if I'm looking for apartments, I'm only going to be looking for in areas that have a lot of apartments. In other words, if I'm looking for rentals, I'm going to the areas with lots of apartments. I'll go to this area, I go to this area, and I go to this area. I'm not going to go to this area. There's only 4 apartments. They might all 4 be rentals, but I don't care. I'm focusing my time and energy and that of my clients on this area, on this area, and on this area. Triple digits. Apartments, lots of them. I can see how many people live there. I can see what people make. And I can see the average property value. So I can see that maybe I don't want to be up here. This looks like pretty cheap stuff. A lot of cheap stuff usually means lower grade properties and areas, right? I might like this area here. Lots of apartments, higher prices. Not outlandish, but probably like a high C, like a C plus area. This is an awesome rental area, all right? In any case, what I'm getting at is you can use this information to help direct you to the right areas, all right? And eliminate all this other stuff. So you have no business looking at all these other areas, wasting your time and that time of your clients. Okay, you guys ready for the third part? Are you ready to move forward with learning this process I'm showing you? Okay, good. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, go ahead and write in your notes, Planning Commission, okay? And the beautiful thing is every municipality, every county, and this is true in U.S. and Canada too, has a Planning Commission, all right? And they often have what's called a Planning Commission website. And on these Planning Commission websites, they pull together data from multiple sources, like uscensus.gov, your local tax assessors database, okay? Most states and provinces, this is loaded at the county level. Sometimes it's loaded at the municipal level, depending on where you are in U.S. and Canada. In fact, I can tell you I think it's New York, could also be New Jersey, they load their tax assessors data. That's what they determine to be your assessment value for your real estate. They're at the municipal level, okay? But it doesn't matter. Either way, you have these websites available to you. And you get all this information, all kinds of demographics and social graphics, okay? Everything you want to know. So let's look at age, for example. I can see in 5-year increments how many people live here. 5-year increments, how many people live in this area, okay? Sound good? Well, it is good, because let's say you or your client are flipping a home, and if we go back, let's go back here, okay? So you're flipping a home, and your data tells you should be between 150 and 300,000 in this particular school area, all right? So if you think about the typical home buyer, demographically, it's a middle-class family looking to buy a medium-price home with 2.3 kids. Well, this data tells you kind of where they want to be, right? All the people are selling and people are buying in greater numbers, all right? Then you narrow it down further by zip code and neighborhood, And the last thing you do is you go here and you look at this data and you ask yourself, you know what, does that middle class family looking to buy a medium price home with 2.3 children want to move to a neighborhood where the largest segment of the population get ready to retire? So this largest segment was 50 to 54 years old back in 2010. Now they're like in the 60s, right? And people in their 60s are thinking about retiring. Okay, so does that family want to move to a neighborhood where the largest segment of the population is thinking about retiring? Probably not. I mean, some people will, but more people that have 2.3 children want to move to a neighborhood where other people have 2.3 children. Okay, now I'm not saying you can't sell homes there. You certainly can. It's just a different strategy. Okay, what I'm getting at is this is going to help you narrow down your scope of activity dramatically. You let your fingers do the walking. Okay, you narrowed your scope of activity down from the massive ocean of data down to school report area, so you have school areas in price range. Then you narrow it down further by zip code and neighborhood. And the last thing you do is you validate everything using the social graphics and demographics to find out, in the case of a flip, is this the best place to be flipping a home right now? It's all business, all the information is public, and it's all free. And I'll tell you this, guys, years ago, when I first started, I was pretty successful. I was having success. I definitely wasn't a rock star by any stretch of the imagination, but I was doing okay. It's just I was working my tail off. And when I learned to slow myself down and pay attention to all this information, it allowed me to be a lot more efficient. I had more time at home with my children. Okay, I wasn't going out on nights and weekends when they were home. I was now home with them. I was working regular hours, but I was doing it from home. Okay, and I was no longer, by the way, looking at hundreds of properties that I had no business looking at. Now we were looking at only the best of the best, not the most expensive, not the cheapest, only the properties in the areas that made the most sense, because we knew more people would buy our properties once we remodeled them in those areas. Does that make sense? Okay, you guys feel like you're getting this? Because if you grasp what I just went over there, you're going to love what's coming up next, okay? Because we're going to get into some marketing, and the marketing is now, because you've got this foundation, the marketing is going to make a whole lot more sense. So let's go ahead and move forward. You guys ready to move forward with this? Okay, awesome. First things first, here's a comment from one of our students. Bob Knoll just talks about it's an innovative approach. It's really not that innovative. I mean, I wish I could say I'm a genius, but I'm just a regular person. I just learned how to apply basic principles and processes, all right, to specific groups of people, and it worked like a charm. Okay, in any case, let's go over the booklet first. We're going to go over the booklet, all right? This is a technique that you can use to either do one of two things. You can use it to either acquire investors who have capital that will invest with you, or you can use it to find investors that you can service with a license, okay? So that's the cover page there. Essentially the key parts of this, ignore the part right here that says book / ignore that. Just focus on this, where the smart money is. This is part of the prototype. You're getting the actual original that I created years ago. So where the smart money is. If you notice, it's not a question, it's a phrase. But the way it's phrased, it's open-ended. And what happens is the reader creates the question in their mind. Well, where is it? Okay, then before you give them the answer, you give them a photo of your area. In this case, it was Pittsburgh. You can see there's an opening in all those clouds here, a little blue sky right above the three rivers there. Okay, and if you, by the way, in the training program, we tell you if you get a picture off the internet, to purchase the picture, because then that gives you the legal right to reproduce it. Does that make sense? Okay, and then you give them the answer, investing right here in Pittsburgh, or wherever you are. You know, Whittier, California, Abilene, Texas, Hoover, Alabama. You know, where else have I been? Peoria, Illinois. My gosh, I've been literally California to Maine and Montreal to Miami teaching this. Everywhere. You can do this everywhere. In any case, then you got to provide, if you're an agent, you got to provide your broker's name. Typically has to be larger than your name, at least in a lot of states, and your contact information. And if you're in California and other locations, you got to provide your license ID too, if you're a licensee. Okay, so let's break it down based on component. All right. First thing is the cover. Okay, we just went over the cover. The second part is you want to have an introductory letter. Now, the intro letter, you want to be careful not to talk about yourself. You want to say things like, hey, did you know that in, let's see, where was I? Here's a good one. Did you know that in Queens, New York, that 69% of the people rent? Okay. Now, remember, this booklet is going to investors or people who are highly likely to want to invest. So when you say, did you know that 69% of our residents rent, and this investor course happens to be in Queens, do you think that might mean something to them? Yeah, like maybe I should pick up some rentals. Okay. So in any case, you want to speak in terms that draw them in, to have them believe that they need to read what's next. Okay. So make it about them. Make it something valuable and relevant and pertinent to them. That's your letter. All right. The third thing is number 3 is a story. You want to provide a story of at least one investment. Okay. And if you don't have one, you can use my story as an example. I mean, in fact, we'll give you an article I wrote years ago about a duplex I purchased and held for a while and then sold for profit. But the bottom line is, if you know a teacher or preacher, in church we preach parables. Parable is a story, and people imagine the circumstances unfolding around them. It's a lot more relevant and pertinent than just telling them. Instead of saying, hey, you can make money investing in real estate, you actually demonstrate it. You demonstrate it with an actual story. Okay. And the fourth thing is you want to give them examples. Give them examples of properties from your area. You can do one booklet on rentals. You can do another one on flips. You can do a combined booklet if you want. But just provide samples of properties that look like they were a good investment. They could even be actively listed. They could be under contract. They could be sold. Okay. You're not using this to sell those properties. You're using this booklet to establish a relationship. Okay. Huge difference. So, and this is really critical when it comes to investors. You don't look at an investor as a one and done like you do under occupants. Okay. You look at investors as long-term relationship. So that's why we do it that way. So I want you to consider this. All right. And think about this. Let's say you did this. Let's say you use this booklet and you did 25 booklets per month, every month for 12 months. And the reason we suggest 25 is unlike postcards and other kind of mailings, those callback rates are very low. The callback rate on this thing here is about 3 out of every 25. So we suggest you do 25 at a time, because you want to learn small. So learn small, then you can grow big. But I want you to write this down in your notes. How many transactions do you believe you're going to get using this campaign? And write that down quick so it comes from the heart. So write that number down right now. Okay, good. Now, the thing is, the cool part is this, guys. Imagine and picture you bringing in hungry investors, all right? Looking for the deals, kind of deals you're showing them, right? And how simple and natural it is to offer them, all right, this kind of information, and how easily and natural it is for them to respond to you. Okay. One of the first things you're going to be aware of is how easy it is to close or convert these folks into actual clients, because of the way that we're approaching them. You're approaching them in a much more business-like fashion. Okay, you guys getting this? All right, I see some yeses. Are you? Is this making sense? Okay. All right, good. I'm glad you like that, because this is an awesome tool. Okay, next one. Let's see. I want to show you. Well, actually, before I do that, here's another comment from another one of our students. This is just last Christmas. Justin went through, and one of our commitments, by the way, is to, no matter what your background is, whether you're a brand new agent or you're a brand new investor or you're brand new to everything, is to have you have 3 streams of income. All right, and we want you to do it quickly. In fact, we give you a whole year to do it, but most people do it well within 6 months. But here's the deal. Here's what he's saying. The guy is he's already serving investors, helping them buy and sell properties. All right, he's also managing their properties for them. So he's got right there 2 streams of income, which makes sense. He's helping them buy rentals, and he's also now managing the rentals for them. He's got 2 streams of income from one client, one source of business. He's also buying his own properties. He's already got 7 of his own units. He's looking to add 5 or 6 more. And by the way, he told me all of his clients are multiple transactions, and one of them bought 12 properties in 1 year. One client, 12 commissions. Okay, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. So, in any case, sorry to ramble there. Let me show you what was coming up next year. Then it's another technique. Okay, this is an actual workshop, and it's the opposite of the last technique. Last technique is indirect. You're going through the mail. It is direct mail, but you're not working with people directly. This was a direct in-person technique. Okay, so what you're doing here is you're putting on a workshop. It's not like a first-time homebuyer workshop. This is a workshop for investors. The reason is investors are repeat clients. They'll come back again and again, and they'll bring people with them, word of mouth. So I don't want you to think this is like a big, what's called ACRE or RIA. ACRE is American Congress of Real Estate. RIA is Real Estate Investors of America. Big national franchises. You can certainly do that, but we just want you to start here. Start small, start local. Okay, and the beautiful thing is you can get rooms for free in many cases. You can typically get a room for free at your local library as long as you live in that community. You can get a room for free typically at your church or mosque or synagogue or whichever the case may be. Okay, if you're a member, that is. And often you can even get a room at your local municipal building and ask for the community room. Now, the way you get this for free is this. Your workshop has to be nonprofit. You can't go in there charging any kind of a fee or dues, or if you're an agent, you can't go in there selling listings. That's not the intent. The intent is to build a following, to build relationships. Okay, because when you focus on the relationship first, you have long-term cash flow coming in. Don't just do the quick fix, the one and done, because you will never be able to stop working. This is how you put yourself in a position to stop working. All right, so back to the workshop. You also only want to get up there and speak for about 5 minutes initially. Okay, you can Google it, real estate news. You'll get all kinds of blogs and articles and special reports, and just speak for about 5 minutes. Now, the next thing is you want to pass control to the people in the room. Here's what I mean by that. It's not in a foolish way, a very constructive way. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring in samples of properties. Okay, bring in samples of properties. And also bring in blank worksheets, like a real simple cash flow formula, cash flow worksheet, or information sheet if you're looking at flips. All right, hand them out for free, and also bring in samples of properties, and bring in multiple copies, because you want each person to have everybody to have the same set of properties. And what you're going to do is you're going to have these folks practice using the worksheets on the sample properties. Okay, it's like a classroom scenario. And think about what that looks like. So if you're in a library doing this, number one, it's a neutral site. Number two is it's a learning site. People associate libraries with learning. All right. So you've got this perfect environment brewing here, and these folks are going to warm up to you. And if you're an agent, you really, man, if you're not doing this, you're leaving tons on the table. I mean, I'll just tell you, this is a precursor to one of our more advanced techniques we teach you, which is how to put on a classroom. When I was doing the classrooms, I was making sometimes as much as $800,000 a year just on commissions from all the students I brought through the classrooms. Okay, so in any case, do the workshop first, build your way up to the classroom. Awesome strategy, awesome technique. The only thing it costs you is a little bit of paper. Okay, in long term, you get to build relationships with other investors. So if you're looking for capital, this is a great way to do it. If you're looking for clients to serve, and because you're an agent, this is a great way to do it. It's just an absolute win-win scenario. You get to become friends with these people. Matter of fact, I'll tell you, I have gotten more business. I've built more friendships from my business than I ever got business from my friends. Okay, I want you to just ponder on that for a second. All right, and while you're doing that, I want you to write this down. How many transactions do you believe you're going to get by using this technique? And just based on what you told you on the webinar here, there's a lot more you can do with this. I just want to give you the basics, okay? And you should average the way we teach it, by the way. Your very first workshop should have about 20 people in it. That's our average turnout, okay? Sometimes it's 15, sometimes it's 24, sometimes it's 27, but the average has been 20, all right, if you execute it properly. All right, so I want you to consider that, doing that every month for 12 months. How many transactions do you believe you would get using this technique? So same thing with the booklet. booklet every month for 12 months, 25 booklets per month for 12 months, how many transactions do you believe you will get from that? And the workshop here, I'm sorry to jump back here. Let's say you average 25 people per workshop. Over time, it will grow much more than that. But we have students that have, hundreds of people in their groups, right? In fact, I just interviewed one of our students who, in 10 months, Daniel Davids in Lexington, Kentucky, was up to, I think, 168 people in 10 months. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you this is an awesome technique, awesome strategy. So go ahead and write that number down, okay? Because we're going to come back to this at the end of the session today, and help you see if we achieved your key objective. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and keep moving along here, guys. By the way, another comment from another former student. He's just saying that lots of repeat business, simplified prospecting, working with investors, simple and efficient, and he says it again, great source of repeat business. Well, kudos to John. He's a former U.S. area guy, by the way. Okay, another technique here. Visiting small local banks, okay? I like this technique. It's free, it's easy. I'm going to show you how to approach these small banks, who to talk to, what to say, and show you how it builds over time. So let's just, a couple of things first. You only want to use this technique with small local banks, not the big ones, not Bank of America, Wells Fargo. They're always doing, they're selling their mortgages, and as such, they have to follow FHA guidelines, okay? Which means they're using asset managers to dispose of their non-performing assets, which adds a layer of complexity to this process. However, with the small local banks, often they're what we call portfolio lenders, okay, which means they don't sell their mortgages. And when they don't sell their mortgages, that means they don't have to use asset managers. I mean, they can if they want to. They're just not required to. A lot of times they'll try to do this stuff on their own. They'll try to dispose of the non-performing assets on their own, which means we have a better shot of working with them, whether we're agents or investors or both in this case. We have a better shot of working with them. So just remember, small local bank, community bank, it's also a portfolio lender. Right, now, you want to go up, and when you go into the office, remember business casual, okay? And sometimes it does help to carry a briefcase or at least a planner. All right, look for the office that's marked with the plaque that says Vice President or branch manager, something like that. And if that person's there and the door is open, tap on the glass and let them invite you in, and now you've got your audience. If you don't have that scenario, then you walk away. You don't leave a note, don't leave a card, don't any of that kind of stuff. Come back another time. In any case, you walk up, introduce yourself. In my example, I would be, say, hi, I'm Gary Wilson, and I want you to write this down. This is the script, okay? In this case, I'm a realtor. I'm a realtor in the area, and I have clients who are interested in properties just like yours. Now, if you notice, I'm not using a foreclosure word. In a small local bank, they know what you're talking about, right? They know what's happening inside their bank. So I have clients interested in properties just like yours. Now, what you just did there is you just raised their barrier, and now you got to overcome it, okay? By saying this. Say, I just want to sell one. Now, obviously, you want to sell more than one, but right now you're just trying to open the door. Say, I just want to sell one. I'll let you catch up on that. Write that down. So let's do one together. That's called a presumption. So let's do one together. Then you're going to say, and if you like the results, that's called an implication, and if you like the results, then perhaps we can do more together. Okay, and you do a hand gesture, so unfolding your hand towards them. So what happens is you kept control of the conversation to that point, and at the last statement, you handed control over to them. And what do they have to do? That's right, they have to respond, and it's a natural transfer of control. So they naturally have to respond. Now, half the time they're going to say no, right? Half the time they're going to say no, but the other half of the time they're going to say yes or something other than no. And anything that doesn't contain the letters N-O, I consider a yes. All right. I know I'm going to be able to work that relationship and get transactions out of it. So in any case, that's the basic script. Good news is this, particularly if you're an agent, is because there's typically no asset manager involved with these small ones, there's no referral fees. So when you work with asset managers and you list those properties, you've got to pay referral fees, 25% typically, okay? So no referral fee here, right? You also get to use your own local board's forms for listings. All right, so no big giant, 36-page Fannie Mae addendum. All right, small local bank. It's more like a traditional listing, except that the client is more, let's say, business client. So how many of you would like to have more business-oriented relationships in your business? Yeah, me too. All right, so go ahead and write this down. The tool we use is called Bank Tracker, okay? Not Bank Trader. They've got that wrong. They've got to fix that. It's Bank Tracker, okay? The email that when you get this in the email, just remember it's going to be a lot longer than this. The link is going to be quite lengthy. You just save it into your browser, hit the enter key, and you're going to get a graph that looks like this. This tells you this bank has foreclosures, okay? So you just Google banks in your area and get the list of them and start typing them in, okay? And you'll get all these, you'll see who has foreclosures, and virtually all of them have foreclosures. So I want you to write this down. Let's say you did do this, and I hope that you do. Let's say you visited just one branch per week. That's it. One branch per week. Easy to do. And you took 2 weeks off. So 50 branches you visited this next year. I want you to write down how many transactions do you believe you're going to get using this technique. And write it down fast so it comes from the heart. Okay? All right, good. With that, we're going to move on to another technique here. First things first, though, another quick comment from a guy named Kevin Butler. Says, from the moment he was started, he was set up to succeed. Freedom's been priceless. We got to spend more time with his beautiful daughter here, right, as a result of this. Okay, I'm going to show you next a letter, okay, very powerful tool. It's a short letter. We're going to go over the introduction. We're going to go over the how you establish credibility, what the numbers are, and the call to action, okay? And I want you to consider this. Once I show you what I'm going to show you here, when I show you this letter, it's going to make all the sense in the world. But just imagine having people on the phone that you're talking to that's a natural conversation, okay, based on something that you sent them that's neutral, okay, and it's not salesy. You're basically making an offer to them that's hard for them to refuse, okay? So I just want you to be aware that one of the first things you're going to be able to become aware of is how easy it is to close, to convert these people into actual clients, or if you're an investor looking for inventory, how you can get a lot more yeses from these folks, okay? By quite frankly, building up your pipelines, right? Is this making sense? Okay, good. Let's go ahead and let's look at the letter here. If you want to do a screenshot, feel free. I'm going to break this down for you. First things first, the envelope should be a plain vanilla envelope, okay? And their name and address and your name and address should be handwritten, okay? Now, if you notice, there's no letterhead here. No letterhead up at the top at all. It's a personal letter, right? Now, if you're an agent, you got to let them know that you're an agent. So I do that down here in my signature box. Gary Wilson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But back up here, if you notice, name. Now, just write this down. We've dropped the last name since this. So just write salutation equals first name. So we just say, Dear Clay, I'm writing to you about your property located at 17 Elm Lane in Etna. I'm not suggesting you sell your property if you don't want to. Now think about this. We name them by first name first, personally, Dear Clay. Then we name their property specifically, so we get their attention. Then we're going to use what's called a positioning statement, which is this. And I'm not suggesting you sell your property if you don't want to. The way that works so well is anytime we start something off in a negative, like I'm not, this is not, what happens is the human brain is wired to figure out the opposite. Well, what is it then? Okay, so you position, that's called positioning. They have to read what's next, which we make it what's called a statement of fact. However, inventory is tight right now. And what does that mean in terms of supply and demand? Just go ahead and write that down or type that in. Yeah, in fact, we created intrigue. The purpose of this statement of fact is to create intrigue and establish credibility, all right? Next thing is, we're going to keep that sentence going with what's called a power statement, and it's this. And I have clients, plural, like Mr. Matajasic, who want to buy a property. We actually spell it out, 4-unit building, just like yours in your area. Now, real quick, back here, you want to name one person and one person only their last name, and always get their permission first. Now, if you're writing this, if you're an investor writing this letter, and you're approaching somebody directly, not as an agent but as an investor, you have to take some of this out, obviously, right? Okay. So now we got them where we want them, right? We've named them. The envelope is handwritten. They open it up, so we've crossed that first hurdle. Salutation, first name specific. Okay, property specific, first sentence. I'm not suggesting you sell your property if you don't want to. Our inventory is tight right now, and I have clients like Mr. Metajasic who want to buy a property just like yours in your area. Now, what part of that power statement makes it really powerful? You're right, it's the name. We've tested it with the name, without the name. With the name, response goes way, way up. Poof, right? Makes it more real. And by the way, you want to be authentic and genuine here. You don't want to make this name up. You really should have somebody who wants to buy a 4-unit building in this example, okay? In any case, here's the reason why. If you abuse this letter, use it incorrectly, I think it's going to catch up with you, okay? Here's what I'm getting at. We're not broadcasting this letter. We're not sending it out to a wide audience. We're only sending it to specific people who own specific types of properties. In this example, owners of 4-unit buildings in a particular area, okay? Oops, sorry, that jumped a little bit ahead there by osmosis. So we're not casting this out to the world. We're literally creating a market. We're bringing together supply and demand. Okay, and when you bring together a supply and demand, you create your own market. And what that means to you agents out there is you have a higher probability of double ending your commissions. You're getting commissions on both ends, the listing side and the buying side. Okay, so if you want a more double enders, guys, this is how you do it. If you want inventory to invest in, if you're an investor, this is how you do it. Okay, we use our properties tax assessment database to determine the addresses of these folks, and the mailing address of the owners, by the way, because a lot of times the owners aren't living in these properties; they're renting them out, right? We also, I will tell you this, a little bit of a hint. In the training program, we teach you how to use your public records to narrow your search down further to specific people who are in distress. So we will only send this letter to people who own 4-unit buildings who maybe are evicting tenants at the moment. Okay, maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe this is a probate situation and they inherited it. The deceased left this to somebody in a will and they don't want to have anything to do with it. Maybe there's bankruptcy. Maybe there's foreclosure. We teach you how to find that these people under the radar screen and write this letter to them. Okay, very, very powerful tool. All right, I want you to write down. Let's say you use this letter every month for the next 12 months. Same thing. Let's just say you did 25 letters per month. How about that? 25 letters per month for 12 months. All right, keep it simple. How many transactions do you believe this is going to get you in the next 12 months? Whether it's your own properties or commissions from other clients. Write that number down and write it from the heart, so it comes from your heart and not your head. I'll explain why we do that here in a little bit. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. And by the way, here's another student. Stacy was for a while she was a stay-at-home mom, and she was only doing this part-time. And I think she was doing about 2 transactions a month, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that doesn't sound real glamorous, but doing it part-time with 2 transactions a month help you guys right now. Okay. In any case, you can read what she says. But I want to just show you. I want to show you some more. So let's go ahead and move forward here. Let's say you're working with. There's multiple kinds of investors. Let's say you're working with the kind of investor who's one of those no money down owner financing types, which is what I used to do. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that stuff actually does work. But the fact is, it doesn't work very well. It works very poorly. You got to work your butt off. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to find that prince, right? We want you to work more traditionally, because if you look at, if you read autobiographies of people who built wealth and income in real estate in America, you'll find out that many of them, they were using cash. Number one, all right, not always, but often they are, or they're using a lot of cash. They're not doing all this no money down owner financing stuff, trying to make hundreds of offers that waste a lot of people's time. It's very highly focused and targeted and very specific. Okay, and what you can do is, if you find yourself with the former group, the people who just want to have you look at hundreds of properties, there's actually a way you can collect 10% commission. All right, you just have the seller of the property, you take their commission, maybe it's 3%, okay, and you have the buyer make up the difference, okay. Now, not everybody's going to agree to this, but the fact is it's a great filtering tool. You get to filter out the tire kickers and the wannabes from the people who are serious. The people who are serious will work with you under these terms. We've collected retainer fees, okay. We've done all kinds of stuff from investors who we thought were going to be a huge expense of time. We want to make sure we were compensated fairly for our time. So that's how we did it. Okay. The thing is this. If you're an agent, you no longer have to just take your 3%. There's options available for you. All right. I mean, the fact is how many of you feel like you need a raise? All right. How many of you feel like you deserve a raise? Well, absolutely. And how many of you would rather do multiple transactions per client, not just one per client, but 5 or 10 or 20? Well, absolutely. All right, that's what I call working smarter, not harder, right? And I'm going to show you guys here shortly how you can actually do this consistently. All right, I'm essentially going to present to you how you can do what I did, how you can participate with our group. We're going to pull out all the stops. I pulled back the curtain here a little bit so far. I'm going to show you some examples here, some case studies here in a minute. So before I do though, just ask, wouldn't it be great to have this simple system and have it actually work for you, have you own it? And when you get involved here, it's like it's yours. You don't just, it's not like something you get to look at through the window. It's you actually own it. Okay. Now just imagine at that moment you get it, how good you're going to feel. All right. Having this proof of system in place, the opportunities will be rolling in. You no longer have to do any cold calling and door knocking, all that kind of stuff. Okay. In any case, by now you're probably seeing probably some of my greatest secrets. Okay, and that of other people who we've taught over the last several years. Right. And ask yourself, did they always have the opportunities? Well, they're always out there, guys. You just need to know how to identify them and seize them. This is why we have this system in place, right? It's a systemized pipeline, okay? And if there's a secret, that's what it is. It's just a systemized series of processes that you go through. And quite frankly, these are quite affordable. I mean, this is like none of this stuff takes a lot of time, energy, and money to use, right? In any case, let's go ahead and jump forward here. I just want to show you some examples. Okay, this is this is the commissions. These are commissions earned by one agent from one client in 1 year. So this agent got $54,000 in commissions from this one client who bought 18 single-family homes. Right. This agent got $27,000 in commission from this person who I think sold 13 properties. Okay. And by the way, we purposely chose some of the lower end ones because if I showed you, for example, one of my agents actually collected $176,000 commission, you couldn't see that. Your mind would not let you see yourself in that situation. But you can see yourself in this situation. All right, this agent got $30,000 in commissions from a guy who bought 7 properties. All right, $35,000 on 9 properties. One client. Again, this is one agent, one client. That's all the commissions they get from that one client in 1 year, just from one client. How do you like that one? We'd like to have this guy, and I bet they're out there buying more properties, right? So $76,000 in commissions from this agent earned by representing this one client. That's it. They probably represent, well, they do represent other clients. This is just what they got from one, okay? All right, so here's another student that went through here. She was on the agent side of things. It was her first day of class, literally day one. She used one of the scripts, and she got her very first client, okay? Here's another guy. I love him. He was originally from the Cleveland area. And he just says it's been an absolute boost to his productivity. He's talking about the leads we give out. So we send out referrals all the time to our students or investors and our agents. And by the way, here's a real neat case study. All right, so these are 3 realtors who want to invest. They got together and they decided to work together on a workshop, like what I just described to you guys earlier. In the very first workshop, they had 29 people registered, 24 showed up, 4 of them said that they will work with them, and they actually started showing properties the very next day. Okay, these 3 girls worked together. Beth, Manisha, and Tanya, all three worked together. All right, you talk about an amazing group. And by the way, if you obviously they're all female, and I will tell you, if you're female, it's one of the most powerful marketing strategies we have in existence today, which is whatever you're doing, make it just for females. All right, I can give you plenty of examples. Some of these women who are doing this are in my one of my mastermind groups, and one of them's down in Miami, Florida. She operates independently. These 3 girls work together, obviously, but regardless, you talk about a powerful niche group. Oh my gosh! So, in any case, here's the deal. Who wants to be our next success story? Okay, because we're going to talk about that. So let's go ahead and just imagine, for example, what it would be like to be earning 10% commissions. Imagine what it would be like to be doing more than 100 transactions a year, like with no assistance, no admin. You don't have to pay anybody. Or how about being on pace to add a 6-figure income to your bottom line? Or imagine this. Picture this. How many of you would love to have more deep quality time with your loved ones, especially on holidays and weekends, all right? How about this? How many of you really do want to help, you want to build your own wealth and income, all right? Did you realize that if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll be able to get plenty of what you want? It's one of my favorite quotes from Zig Ziglar. He's unfortunately no longer with us, but it's true. You can actually get more of what you want by helping other people get the same thing, all right? It's an amazing phenomenon how that works. I can tell you I've been doing it for years, and it's true. It took me a long time to figure it out, but I can tell you that's how I live my life now. So how many of you love the fact that this is easy? I mean, what I showed you today, it really is that easy. Okay, so in a moment I'm going to show you an opportunity. All right, you guys are going to have the opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of this. If you want, and there's special offerings we make for people who are, you take action, because we recognize that if you're an action taker, we know you're going to win. If you take action, you're going to get results, right? And when you get results, that means you get paid. Those are the kind of folks we want to have on our team. So how many of you would like to have this opportunity? Well, good. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to share with you how I can truly help you. So just raise your hands and give me an okay here. What do you mean by that? Is type in on your computer there, all right? So here's what I'm going to show you. All right, this is the Investor Agent Best Practices System. Okay, it's part of the Path to Profit series. Path to Profit has multiple training programs, all focused on real estate investing. This particular one is focused on agents who want to invest or work with investors, and investors who either already have or think that they should get their license, and now you probably realize you should get your license. Okay, and it's all about this right here in the middle, the quote. All right, make more money, not more work. I mean, that's what we're all about here. So bottom line is this: it is a simple system. You get, there's rapid results. I mean, we have people literally producing on the very first night. Many students within the first month have 2, 3, 4 transactions. I will tell you this: we don't just go through the process with you, which we do, by the way, hand in hand. In case you're wondering, we actually guarantee it. Okay. In any case, more benefits are you obviously have more time. You're not working your butt off all the time. Has a much greater impact on your bottom line because you're getting more profit. And quite frankly, investors are repeat clients. If you ever had another business before, I can tell you've got to have repeat clients to be successful. So what this is essentially a way for you to build the business that you've wanted. Okay. Have more time to do the things you want when you want to do them with the people you want to do them with. Obviously more profit because you have repeat clients coming in. Is this making sense? All right. So if I did a good job, would it be okay if I share with you how you can go a little bit deeper into this program? You guys getting this? Okay. All right. So who this is not for? This is not for people who say, oh, I'll just figure it out on my own. I used to be one of those guys, and I can tell you, after years of missing opportunities and making mistakes, I mean, the few dollars that it actually takes to do this, it amazes me that there's still people that do that like I used to do. But I guess we're out there, and I used to be one of them. Okay, it's definitely not for people who are not willing to roll up their sleeves, at least for 1 or 2 hours a week. Okay, because that's all it takes. And if you've kind of thrown in the towel, like, this definitely isn't for you, man. You don't ever give up on your dream. In fact, I'll tell you, I love dreamers, and I'll tell you the best advice I can give somebody is this: don't ever stop dreaming, okay? Because when you do, dreams. Everything starts with a dream. The Wright brothers, manned flight, powered flight. That started with a dream, okay? The flying the man to the moon, landing on the moon. That started with a dream, all right? Everything starts with a dream. Don't ever give up dreaming, all right? So in other words, don't ever give up on yourself, all right? When you give up on dreaming, you give up on yourself. If that's the case, this program is not for you, all right? So who's this program for? Well, essentially, it is for, whether you're an agent, whether you're an investor, it doesn't matter. You could be a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. If you've never invested before, I mean, I have a colleague up in Boston, and she's been working with investors for 10 years, and she never once bought her own investment property, not once. All right, she even teaches classes on how to do it. Okay, so this is for people who are action takers, people who are ambitious, people who like to learn, who are not afraid to step forward, all right, and take action, because we know if you take action, you're going to get results. You've got to be willing to put one foot in front of the other, guys. That's all it takes, really. I don't think you're here for a feel-good experience. I think most people really want to do real estate. Most people want to have investment real estate in their portfolios. If you feel like stretching and growing, and you're willing to change to get to the next level, I can put this in front of you, and if you wake up and show up, I'll be there waiting for you. So that's who this is for. All right. So let's just talk about it a little bit here. It's a fast step-by-step process. I'm going to take you basically hand in hand to walk you through how we actually deliver this program. Okay, so you can start making money right away. It all starts with you right here, right now, with who you are, what you know, and where you are, and who you know. Right, and just remember this. Remember what you forgot to remember. That you don't really necessarily need a whole lot more clients. Okay, you just need a handful of people who are repeat clients. All right, you need a systematic process, to put this stuff together for you fast, okay? And this is what I'm going to be showing you right here, right now. So initially, please write this down. There is 6 weeks of training. It's basically a year-long program, okay? But initially 6 weeks of training, all right? In that 6 weeks, it's the academic part. You're going to be in a position to know how the investors think. You're going to basically acquire the investor mindset. If you don't have a license, you should get one. It's actually not a requirement, but I can tell you, you'll have a lot more available to you if you do. Basically, if you don't have your license, it's like saying I don't like money. Okay. This is going to help you attract and keep the best investors. All right. It's going to allow you to open up multiple streams of income, and if you have a license, it's basically putting it on steroids. I mean, there's at least 8 ways you can make money with your license, at a minimum 8 ways. Okay. Also, we're going to go over some negotiating strategies, tax strategies. This is all part of the original academic portion of the program. Okay, there's 3 levels. They all begin concurrently. All right, so this is level 1. All right, now if you're really interested in this, you're going to see at the bottom of your screen where you can click on that and go ahead and place your order. But let's go ahead and I got a few more things to show you. You also get all the marketing. Okay, quite frankly, you've got to have the right tools to be successful, guys. You've got to have the right tools to be successful in acquiring properties and people. You got to have the right marketing strategies. Okay, so how many of you would like to jumpstart your business day by having these strategies? Okay, all right. So the next thing is, speaking of strategies, is strategies for multiple streams of income. Our commitment is this: we want you to have 3 streams of income by the time you're done. All right, you've got a whole year to do it. Most people do it well within 6 months, okay? Most people have 4 strategies by the time they get to the 5th month. All right. Also, we're going to give you all of the documents, all the calculators, all the spreadsheets, everything, by the way, in their original format. That means original Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, not PDFs, not copies, not just links. The actual original documents, okay? Who likes that? Okay, we do a weekly webinar series too, so in addition to the learning part, we actually get together once a week. It's live, it's interactive, it's engaging. You pick the subject, you get to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, and it's we record it, by the way. So it's every week. So if you miss 1 or 2 in a year, don't worry about it. You get the recording the very next day. And we always do it at 4 o'clock California time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right, or what would that be? 5 o'clock Mountain time and 6 o'clock Central time. We choose a different day of the week every week to try to accommodate, folks like who have children and maybe parents that need your help on a couple of evenings a week. So we do that on purpose. It's a very family-friendly program we have here. Okay, so let's go into how this thing is pieced together here and some of the costs. All right, so the actual initial training, the academic part, the materials is $500. The marketing is worth $1,500. Okay, that's by the way, there's 24 different marketing campaigns. Okay, 24. I showed you 4 of them tonight. All right, strategies for multiple streams of income. Of course, that's priceless. All the calculators and spreadsheets, all the documents, the whole 9 yards. That's worth about $1,000. The weekly series, the group series, is $4,000. And you also get private one-on-one strategy calls with me. Okay, and that's unlimited, by the way. So this isn't like you got to spend $1,000 a month on coaching. We actually included the strategy calls direct live one-on-one into the program. Okay, now as you can see, everything there adds up to about 12 grand. And I can promise you this: you don't have to pay 12 grand. All right, so let me show you how we do that. But first things first, do you like how much is in this system? You feel like we built a pretty comprehensive program here. Well, good. Because here's the thing. Ask yourself this. If all this did for you was get you, let's say you're an agent. Let's say you got one flipper who flipped 4 homes. The average home price is somewhere between $200 and $250 now. So you got, what would that be? Just on one side of a commission, that would be $6,000 to $7,500 per commission on the sales side. When they sold it, on the original purchase side, when they acquired it, maybe you got $3,000. So maybe that's $10,000 cumulatively per flip. And an average flipper is doing 4+ properties per year. Okay, so that's like what would that be? $28,000. No, I'm sorry, $40,000 in commissions just from doing that one thing. Would it be worth it? I mean, would you invest in the stock market? Would you invest 12 grand? If you knew with that kind of certainty you get 40 grand on the back end just on commissions? My gosh. Let's say you got you a landlord who's acquiring rentals. The average landlord adds about 9 units per year. Okay. Or how about this? What if it helped you finally get your first property? Okay. Then would it be worth it? Well, amen to that one. All right. Bottom line is you can, if you put yourself in a position, if you take action, if you commit, there's an old saying from an old poet, German poet named Goethe, Goethe, who said, when you commit, divine providence kicks in. In other words, God makes sure the right people show up at the right time, saying the right thing, doing the right thing. And here's one example of that. Right now, because of where you are in our relationship, you get to do this for $2,000. That's all it costs. Now, just hang on to your seats. I'm going to show you how you can actually make this even better. But initially, it's just for 8 hours, $2,000. But hang on, I'm going to show you how you can actually get one for free here in a minute. We do guarantee the whole thing. And by the way, guys, this isn't just like a 30-day kind of thing. It literally is the entire program, 100% for the entire year. We literally remove all risk. And the reason we do it is because we can. All right. I mean, the fact is you've got to think to yourself of this, all right? If are you worth the investment? I mean, hopefully the answer is yes. Is your family worth the investment? Okay. The reality is we try to do the honorable thing here, and we actually guarantee what we say in writing. We back it up. You actually get a written guarantee, right? In any case, I just wanted to show that to you, help alleviate some of you might have some stress. By the way, there's extra things you get. There is for a year you get access to our silver level membership section. That generally costs $100 a month. You guys get it for free for the whole year. You get access to a website where we bring together investors from around the world and agents. And by the way, the investors are also trained by us so that we know that they're doing things the right way, and also they're working with you the way you're trained, which means everybody's singing from the same song sheet, okay, if you're a licensed, that is. You also get, during that year, that means you have access to all the books you get all the books we've written. You get all of them for free. You get access to all of our expert interviews. We do them every month. And all the webinars we've been doing for the Q&A, we've been keeping them on a database, cataloged by subject type. You get that too. Not just access to it. I mean, you literally get the actual recordings. You get them, download them, make your own MP3, whatever. Get the app to watch it on your phone if you want, because it's audio and video. You get to take it as often as you take the program, by the way, as often as you like during that year. I mean, that's probably worth the weight in gold right there. My gosh, who likes that? Okay. In any case, the next thing is you get a concierge level service with our program administrator. Our program administrator, in a 20-minute session, positions you to know what to do exactly on day one, literally right out of the gate. Okay, that is a huge benefit. In any case, all the marketing is in there, all 24 campaigns, all the recordings are out there for you in great detail, audio, visual. We even have checklists and cheat sheets, all kinds of stuff to guide you through. Not to mention you get the strategy calls, right? In any case, that whole thing, all that material is worth about $1,000. That's all part of it. And yes, we do give referrals to our students. Okay, these aren't just cold leads; these are actual, warmed up. They're screened and qualified. Okay, so in any case, by now you should be seeing that this is a basically, the whole system comes together in a seamless way, allowing you to do more transactions. Okay, guys, these things I'm showing you here literally saved my bacon. I mean, going through what I went through years ago, I didn't even tell you all that. Broken back, divorce, the whole 9 yards. This is what didn't just allow me to survive; it allowed me to thrive. Okay, I had this long-term relationships with all these investors, and one guy actually took me to Vail, skiing with him in Vail, Colorado, completely paid for a week. It was amazing. So, in any case, all this stuff we give to you to help you succeed. You don't have to pay any more for all these bonuses. They're all part of the program. Okay, so altogether, get all that up, you're talking about close to $15,000. Okay, if this is coming together in your mind, go ahead and you can click on the bottom of your screen there to get to the form where you actually place your order. If that here's the thing though, we do want to make sure we attract the right kind of people. If you're an action taker, go ahead and do it. Okay, if you're not, we understand. That's okay. I'm not here to force you in anything. I'll pray for you. Okay. But I can tell you this, if money is an issue for you, you need to ask yourself, has it been an issue for you repeatedly? Because if it has, it's because you've not been in the right game. You've got to get in the right game. This is how you get in the right game. Swinging the bat. Okay, if you want to play baseball, you have to go to a baseball game. Okay, you can't keep going to a soccer game. So if all you're doing is working with owner occupants, if you're an agent, you're missing a huge potential for yourself and your family, not just from working missions, so you can invest yourself. No better way to learn than actually being in the field working with these folks. Okay, and if you're an investor and all you're doing is just scraping together to get these next deals and borrowing money from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, man, you're leaving fortunes on the table. Okay, by not doing this. So and ask yourself this: is your family worth the investment? Forget about yourself. Just think about your family. My gosh. All right, so the time to take action is now, guys. Go ahead and, if you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead and do the order form. And I will show you, for those of you who are action takers, how you can actually get one of these for free. Okay, and here's how. All right, for right now, for those of you who do take action, because we reward people for taking action, we're going to give you an extra program for free that you can share with a loved one. So, in other words, if you have a family member who wants to learn how to invest, just bring them in. You can split the cost with them. That's the point. We want to reward you for taking action, allowing you to split your costs. So you literally get this thing, this whole thing, everything, including the one-on-one strategy calls, by the way, that doesn't change, for $1,000 if you split this with somebody else. You both have to join together, okay, obviously, but you don't get your own. You each get your own systems. You get your own logins and passwords, everything, two complete programs, and you only got to actually pay for one. But you got to do that now. You can't say, I'll do this next summer when I've got more time. And if you're coming up with excuses right now, like I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or I don't know how, or you should be asking yourself, for every one of those, you should be writing this down. Instead of just giving yourself reasons why you shouldn't, come up with the equal number of reasons why you should. Okay? In fact, if you were your own coach, ask yourself right now, if you were your own coach, what would you tell yourself to do? Okay? We've made it so unbelievably, ridiculously affordable. We've removed all the barriers. We've actually got a guarantee in there. One transaction is going to more than pay for this. Okay? So the thing is, you have to think of yourself as in business terms, a balance sheet. Okay, a financial statement. On one side you got asset, liability. On the other side you got income, expense. Okay, training is not an expense. Marketing is an expense, and the resulting cash flow is your income. But that's on the income expense side. On the asset liability side, you are the asset. If you invest in yourself and you do make the stretch, this is called good borrowing. If you really ever read Robert Kiyosaki, this is called good debt. You do borrow. You make the stretch for your own training, because if you invest in yourself, you become an income-producing asset, and if you don't, you become a liability. So you should be asking yourself right now, am I a liability, and do I want to be an income-producing asset? If that's the case, go ahead and click on the button and do your order, and I'll show you that. Here's what this is going to look like. There's click on the button below, and by the way, you all get my own personal email address, and you all also get my own personal cell phone number. I was saving that one for last. Okay, and I've had a lot of people tell me, and I'll meet them at a conference, or I'll be teaching. I teach this class, by the way, about 150 times a year, and it never fails. I'll see people say, you know what, I saw you teach last year. I didn't take the program then, and I realized later I should have, because of one simple fact, Gary, is that you actually give me your personal cell phone number in the program. And once the opportunity goes away, it goes away. We only have a certain capacity. So the good news is, everybody who's been on the webinar, you can all apply for the program. Okay. But the sad news is, if you don't, it's not like you can come back later and get that extra program for free. That's only for people who take action now. Okay. If you want to get it for half price and split it with somebody, this is the time to do it. And the reason is, we want action takers on the team here. Okay, we work closely together. You just get my number, I get your number. Okay, we work closely together. There's other people involved here, several hundred students. Okay, any one time. And it's important that you're an action taker, because if you are, we know you're going to get results. We trust you. We know you. We believe you. We believe in you. And we actually guarantee it. We guarantee it because we can. Okay. Well, thanks again, guys, for participating. I enjoy doing this. I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope you like those golden nuggets I gave you, the freebies for marketing to identify people and properties. If you like that, that is a small portion of what you get in this big, giant program. And we're talking hundreds and hundreds of pages of material, hours of recordings, live group sessions, and live one-on-one sessions with me that are unlimited. Okay, so some of you already do it. I can see that. Congratulations, by the way, for those of you who are doing this. welcome aboard. What's going to happen is tomorrow Beverly's going to send you your first module, the webinar schedule coming up 4 weeks out in advance, and the instructions to follow. And I will tell you this, do the orientation right away. Don't wait, don't hesitate. It takes about 20 minutes. Do it right away, because that's going to position you to hit the gold vein right away. I mean, we literally have clients and students who do this the very first night. They're already getting their first clients. I mean, literally that fast. So when I say this is a fast system, I'm talking fast. Also, those are the same ones who are getting properties under contract 2, 3, 4 within the first month easily. All right. In any case, God bless you all. I look forward to working with you. I congratulate you for participating. I see much more of you are clicking on that now, so congratulations to everybody. Welcome aboard. You're making an awesome decision. It's done wonders for me. It literally changed my life. Okay, it actually saved me, saved my bacon, and I want to be able to do the same for you. So welcome aboard. God bless you, and I will see you on your path to profit. Okay, take care, everybody.